Yo, what's up, guys? This is gonna be like a little ramble, ramble. Today, I'm gonna be talking about i3 and why I just always come back to it, and I think it's basically the best tiler that's out. Um, there's a lot of really good stuff. Like, I'm not gonna trash on the things that people use. But at the end of the day, Wayland's not 100% there. It's still not, guys. I mean, come on. We do have some blessings coming forward with Valve has put in their 2 cents on a couple things. And anytime Valve touches Linux, Linux gets better. And that's just like, that's just how it works. Anyway, so earlier today, I installed Cosmic Desktop, and I completely forgot that, like, you can't really display capture with OBS on it. I'm sure there's a workaround. I did, like, I don't know, 30 minutes of like looking around, and I couldn't find like a complete solution for it. So I gave up on it. And well, I didn't give up on it. I fully completed the rice. It looks great. I just can't record it. So I decided, hey, let's talk about i3. Let's talk about why I like it. So I've been using i3 for a pretty long time, a couple of years. Uh, it is basically one of the easiest to deal with when it comes to all the tiling window managers. So okay, when we talk about the hierarchy of like tinker boys, like people who really like to tweak and rice and do everything from the ground up, the ultimate kind of thing that you would look at is DWM. And DWM is great. It looks great. I've set it up a couple times. I got to the point where, like, patching, I would add multiple patches and then the thing would break. And then I know that there's videos explaining it, but it was just like way too much effort for me. Um, I like just being able to get shit up and running and going as fast as possible. And DWM is not conducive to that. Only because of the patching. If I could just go in, alter my config, recompile, and then I'm good to go, and I already have auto tiling, I already have all this kind of the good stuff, like the centered D menu and all this, and I didn't have to patch D menu, and I didn't have to do all this. Like, it would be my ideal desktop, but it just isn't. And then it comes over to like, okay, so am I going to spend all that time doing that, or can I just install i3 and then just go to the races? And that is basically what has ended up happening. I've used DWM, it's great. Um, I just don't have the patience. At the end of the day, I don't. Um, Other things I've tried and used, obviously, I did recently. I did like a month and a half on Hyperland. Um, Hyperland also, like, something that it's just very easy to configure. I would say if Hyperland was X and I could just use things normally the way that I use them on Xorg, I would say that Hyperland would probably be in that top category because there's a couple of things that are really good about it. Built-in scratch pads, you just super S and you have one. There's no like, oh, I gotta set it up, I gotta put in like something in the config. It's just automatically there. That's pretty cool. Um, However, like I said, the Wayland issues has led me back to i3. And at the end of the day, I got this what you call it? PyCom fork that just gives me the animations from Hyperland. It's this FT Labs. What is it? This fork right here. This is what you want. And then yeah, and then you get all the sort of animation stuff that you would get with Hyperland. And it's all right here in the top of the config. You just play around. You got to go grab their config, though. Make sure you do that, because using the normal one obviously isn't going to work. And then in here you can do a bunch of stuff, your fading, your different things. Uh, yeah. And this works great. And it updates as you write the file, which is always a positive thing to have. And yeah. So it's like I basically don't. The whole point of using Hyperland is the animations and how nice it looks, really, right? So like now I don't even need to do that, so I'm just back on line 3 again. Pretty crazy. Full circle, full swing. Now let's talk about in comparison to BSPWM, which would probably be my second favorite. Like my hierarchy of what you call it, window managers would probably go like this. Would be first would be i3, second would be BSPWM, third would be Hyperland, fourth would probably be Sway, and then fifth would probably be Neary. And then there's like really not any reason to pay attention to anything outside of that. There are other projects that are kind of cool that are in the wild, but none of them are necessarily scratch the itches that these window managers that I was talking about do. So in comparison to BSPWM, with BSPWM, I feel like there's a tiny bit more work with the config, and then um you don't get a few certain things like their little debug thing is very useful with i3. If I got a typo or something in the config, it'll let me know at the top of the screen, like, hey bud, your config's broken, and then you can click show in config, and then it'll show you, and it'll tell you the line where it's messed up, and then you can just go in and fix it, right? So like BSPWM doesn't have that. The other thing is with BSPWM, you have um basically it doesn't have its own built-in key bindings. It uses SXHKD, right? So you have to have two separate configs for that. Where with i3, it's all in the same config. You know what I mean? It's all right here. You know, I get if I need to do all my startup stuff, it's in the same config as all my keybinds and everything. So like that's another thing that's really great. Um, the sheer just simplicity of what you can set up here to get this to work correctly is really nice. Wait, do I have the thing? Yep, I have that thing. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, it's really great. I can't really think of any other reasons for me to like switch off of this currently right now. Because, you know, I'll get this out of the way. The desktop environment game is going to be going in a weird direction because of Cosmic, right? Cosmic is pretty badass. And yeah, so I can't even use any of that stuff. And then Cosmic I can't screen capture properly on. So I'm stuck just still using just old Tylers. And I don't know, should I be mad about that? Am I going to use this to the day that I die? Probably. uh yeah. What else? What other cool things about i3? I think I basically covered most of the things. I just the whole window manager game is very stagnant right now. We need another Hyperland. You know what I mean? We need another thing that's going to come out and kind of shake the boat a little bit. And I don't know what it's going to be. I've obviously I'm searching this stuff up and I'm looking at it constantly so I can make videos and what have you. And I also just have a general interest in all this new software coming out. So I end up looking at this stuff a lot. There's like lesser known window managers that are doing good. Um like I said, like Neary is gonna start. I have a feeling it's gonna start getting, once they get the X Wayland support built into it, it's gonna start getting a lot more popular because the scrolling thing is a very cool novelty, and it definitely appeals to a certain niche of people. I've used the scrolling, and the scrolling's amazing. If they had a scrolling option for i3, I would probably have a keybind to switch to it so I can, because it's pretty cool. Um, and then you have like Ragnar WM, which is essentially dude kind of built like it's like a mix between Hyperland and i3, but it's on Xorg, and you get the cool animations and stuff, and it has a built-in bar, which obviously most people would probably swap out for something else because the bar itself is a little bit ugly, but I mean, it gives you enough leeway with the config to kind of turn it into something that you really like. Uh, that's cool, but again, all harkens back. There's just nothing better than i3. None of these things can compete. And I know I'm sounding like a fangirl right now. Well, I mean, I am. Uh, yeah. I suggest if you haven't tried i3 and you haven't set it up and used it, you should probably try it out because, it's very simple to wrap your head around. And yeah. Anyway, just a little bit more news is I switched away from NeoVim. I'm not using NeoVim anymore. Just setting up the config. I got the config set up with, telescope and, you know, um tree sitter stuff, and I was using it and it just felt extremely busy to me. So, like a while back somebody recommended Helix, so I've been using Helix. You saw it. I just like the minimalness of how it looks, and then jumping into a file is real easy. You have this space bar brings up this menu, press F, and then now I can search for whatever I can open up my polybar config, and it's really fast and it's really easy and it looks nice. And like I edited the theming to it too. What is it called? Yeah, this is my theme. It's basically the Curzon theme. I just switched a couple colors on it so it didn't look like ugly. Because it was doing this thing where like when you bring up this menu, this box would be this like bright blue color. And it just did not match with the way that this looks at all. So yeah. Anyways, that's it. This is me just glazing i3 for, like however long this video is. It's a thing that I like to do from time to time. There's two desktops or Tyler or just GUIs for Linux that I will always forever glaze over, and I will always put this shit on a pedestal. But the first is definitely going to be i3, and the second is Cinnamon Desktop. Those two are like pinnacle, like Cinnamon Desktop is like pinnacle, like Windows style floating manager, you know what I mean? And then i3 is like pinnacle Tyler. Anyways, if you like this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things. I got other videos coming out too. I've been looking into a couple of distros. We'll probably do a distro exploration video pretty soon here. If I can get Pop! OS to properly install on this other SSD that I got, we'll probably talk about what state that's in. I think Pop! OS is great. I'm a big fan of System 76, so yeah, that'll be cool. All right, guys, I'll check you guys later. I'm gonna go play some video games. You have a good one. Peace out.